Bye-bye, Brie. That's what they're probably saying at the Marvel offices as they get ready to launch The Marvels, on track to be the worst performing MCU film of all time. At the same time, they're watching how Loki does on Disney+. They're trying to find some way to stop the bleeding until they can get to a reboot. It's all being leaked out in a big book where the author had special access to Kevin Feige and the rest of Marvel, allegedly. So what's the plan? Apparently, it is to slime the fans who don't want to come watch bad content, meanwhile try to make it through with Loki and whatever they have left, until they get to a point where they can fix their mistakes without ever having said they made one in the first place. That's why when we talk about Brie Larson today, you may be shocked, you may be surprised by what we have to say. Alright folks, welcome back. Here we go with another video where we are explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, and analyzing the latest episode of Loki. But before we get into Loki, with Lauren Connor of That Park Place, we are going to discuss the latest news regarding Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, The Marvels, and potentially the reboot that is coming to the MCU. First off, folks, we're going to stop by the World of Real. And yes, we covered this in a live stream yesterday, but we didn't cover this article, and we didn't cover it in the way that we're going to right now. The World of Real has this article out that says, Brie Larson wants to quit MCU over toxic fans. Now, folks, remember that we are heading towards a reality where Brie Larson is the leading actress of the worst performing movie for Marvel ever in terms of box office, and it's not even close. It seems to me that this is an effort to get ahead of that and frame it in the way that, well, the folks behind Marvel would most like. Here's what it says. Brie Larson might be leaving her Captain Marvel character behind, as a new report claims the MCU actress is disillusioned with the backlash her role has been receiving. And I'll just tell you, I haven't heard very much about this in years. And that is because I think there is general apathy towards this and this project. And so I don't know that she's getting a whole lot of backlash, other than we're talking about how poorly this movie is doing in terms of pre-ticket sales. Larson first appeared as Carol Danvers in 2019's Captain Marvel, which was a bait-and-switch opportunity, which ended up grossing over $1 billion at the worldwide box office. However, she's been at the forefront of some brutal backlash. And Lauren, let me go to you first on this. Let's just pause right there. I kind of feel sorry for Brie Larson. And folks out there may say, Pro, what in the world are you talking about? Why do you feel sorry for Brie Larson? And granted, she's very wealthy. She's well-to-do. She has all the opportunities the world could possibly provide to her. And yet I feel sorry for her because no one likes to fail at something. And no one likes to fail in front of many people. And no one likes to fail in front of many people spectacularly. And that's what's happened to Brie Larson. She doesn't seem to understand how to ingratiate herself with fans. If she knew how to do it, surely she would. She doesn't know how to get people to rally around her, at least not Marvel fans. And Lauren, it's not lost on me that, when Star Wars is doing poorly, it's because of the toxic fan base. And Marvel's just fine. But then when Marvel is struggling with something, it's because of the Marvel toxic fan base. So this accusation about toxicity in fan bases seems to only happen when the fan bases aren't showing up. Your thoughts?
Well, we talked about this a little bit backstage, and I kind of agree with you. I feel kind of bad for her too, but in a limited way. I think when you're living in a bubble and you're trying to get work, you're seeing how the prevailing attitudes of Hollywood are, and you're trying to play to that because that's what gets you additional work. And so I think that's kind of what she was doing. But it's not like the toxic part of this relationship was only one way. Brie went out and she said a lot of patently dumb things.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, I think she did. She hired a firm and she tried to rehabilitate her image a little bit, and that also went over like a lead balloon. I don't think being in the Marvel movies is going to do her any favors going forward. So probably the best thing for her is to step back. And the way that you rehabilitate your image is you come back and you do some kind of a dramatic role, and you do it well, and you be gracious, and you accept whatever awards are foisted upon you for doing that, and you be humble. And lots of actors have gone through and done that in the past. I don't think that's beyond her. I think there's a lot of people that probably will never forgive her for the attitude that she's given before, but I think that it's within her to do that, and I think that she can play a dramatic role and probably rehabilitate her career. I don't think Marvel's going to do her any more favors.
Agreed on all points, and I'm a big proponent of redemption. I think part of what is so dastardly about the woke movement is that it doesn't have a redemptive strategy to it. So once you're canceled, you're canceled, and I don't think that's wise. I think throwing people out into the abyss is a really bad thing, and so I hope that Brie Larson will be successful in the future. I hope that she reconsiders some of those statements she's made in the past, the bitterness and resentment that she's displayed towards various people. And, we hope that she becomes a more well-rounded and mature person. And then she can go on to success. I agree, though. I don't see that Marvel is going to be the vehicle for that to happen. And one of the things, Lauren, is that she has failed in such a spectacular way that this feels a bit like watching a team. Let's put it in the context of baseball, for example. Could be hockey, whatever. If a team is down 20-0, it's time to leave them alone, and that's sort of how I feel about this. This movie is underperforming to such a degree that the worst Marvel movie of all time, when adjusted for inflation and looking at the number of ticket sales, the Marvels will probably make 57% less total ticket transactions than that movie, which is Incredible Hulk 2008. That's being down 20-0, I think.
Yeah, and I think another part about this is that when you're down that far, everybody loves an underdog, and I don't think that she's probably quite in that position in most people's minds right now. But if she did manage to stage a comeback, there is a story there that you can tell. And that may be what she needs to get people rallying around her. If she can come back and rehabilitate her image by portraying a role in such a way that she owns it and she does a great job with it and people like what she does, everybody loves that kind of a comeback story. So I'd say I'm rooting for her in that sense. If she can just kind of shake off some of the, I think the damage that she's absorbed from the backlash.
Right. And lessons can be learned in life. Thus far, I have not seen that she has learned that burning bridges is a bad thing. The last time she talked about her future playing Captain Marvel in video form, I didn't detect that she had turned course. I detected a whole lot of resentment, but fair enough. Sometimes it's best just to part ways, and so perhaps it's best that she part ways with Marvel. But here's how it's being framed by Joanna Robinson, who has given unprecedented access to Marvel and has presented Marvel, and particularly Kevin Feige, in a very positive light. It says this from her book that she's launched. Marvel Studios put Brie Larson in a prominent place in the MCU. I don't know if Brie Larson was the wrong person for the role necessarily, but the toxic backlash means that Brie Larson doesn't want to play Carol Danvers anymore. Now, remember that Joanna is a vlogger, and she's a writer for some websites out there, and she's been given all this access. And so part of being given all that access means that there are some expectations for you to do some stuff. And in this case, she seems to be framing it so that it's the toxic fans, not Brie, who are at fault. It's not Marvel's fault. It's you all who are listening right now. It's the fans who don't go. It's the fans who are critical. And, that's why here on this channel, Lauren, not to toot our own horns, but that's why on this channel, we don't do early access at all, period, ever. If a company reaches out and says, would you like to see our movie early? We don't do it. And, that's actually come up in the past. There has been an opportunity. We won't name some of the movies, and some of the games, but we could have done some stuff, but we refuse to out of principle, because that's how we demonstrate to the audience that we're getting no favors. There's no pro bono. There's no quid pro quo. There's none of that. So, but let's talk about Loki, Lauren. Sure. So, and the reason we're going to go from Brie Larson to Loki is we've got the most recent episode. We're watching Marvel now sort of fray out, right? Fray as in threads, right? They're beginning to just go out into different directions, and it's not that the sacred timeline. It's the assets they have. It's the actors they have to play these roles. They're kind of dissipating.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I am curious because we didn't talk about this at all before we started recording. I want to hear your thoughts first. What did you think of this episode?
All right, so for this episode of Loki, and I think that the Loki series is more important than ever for Marvel because they are trying to find a way forward to get them to whatever the reboot is or whatever the X-Men are. They've got to find something, and Loki is something. And so I think they're paying very close attention to it, and I think they're paying very close attention to the Marvels. They've tied Miss Marvel and a new season to whether or not the Marvels does well. Well, that's gone. So we've got Loki, and, you know, if Loki does well, then they'll do something more with that and with those characters. In terms of what I think it did this week, here's the deal. I've been watching Ahsoka, right? You and I had to watch Ahsoka.
Yeah.
All right, so...
I know where you're going with this.
Well, you have to put it in this framework. This is better than anything Ahsoka did. So every episode that we've watched has been better than Ahsoka.
Yep.
So we're in a categorical, different territory here. The domain is different. But that said, I did have a major qualm with a character decision in this one. So Sylvie is supposed to be, spoilers, folks, we're going into spoiler territory here. Sylvie is supposed to be this cutthroat assassin. And then we get to the end where Sylvie can be the cutthroat assassin, and Sylvie's not a cutthroat assassin. And she's been Disney-fied. So I can understand her letting go of He Who Remains. I don't understand, except for plot. Except that the plot needs to go in this direction. I cannot understand her letting the two ladies go at all. Talking about Miss Minutes and what's the other one? Renslayer. Renslayer. Okay. Well, she lets those two go, and that makes no sense to me. And then it's just truly bad writing that she sends them to the throne room at the end of time where they're going to do stuff. And, any idiot would know they're going to do stuff. So why would she do that? Well, she's either an idiot, which that's not part of the script, or it's convenient plot, and that's what it is. The other thing I would say on this one is I want to take this seriously, and I want to look at it through a serious lens as much as you can. And then they have this strange pell-mell kind of music playing when they're doing chase scenes through the World's Fair, So you've got this very serious thing of how the entire universe, all of the multiverse is going to end. We've got to get back to the TVA. We've got to take the loom. We've got to fix everything. And then they go, and they're running through the thing. And that, it doesn't work. I don't know who did the composition for the music, but somebody should have said, no, don't do that. Your thoughts on it? I mean, I could keep going, but what are your thoughts?
So the first thought I was going to give you was I liked the music in this episode.
Oh, no!
I liked when they did the harpsichord version of the Marvel.
Okay, now I really did like that. No, that was excellent.
I thought that was pretty cool, and I kind of got the circus music in the World's Fair. This episode, I kind of liked it. It's Loki has been surprising me because I have kind of enjoyed it. I don't think it's great. I don't think that it's not anything. This is not going to save the MCU, I don't think. But when I'm watching it, I'm entertained, and that's better than anything else that Disney Plus has been giving me. And so,
yes.
And so, it gets a little bit of a bumped grade. It's not. I don't feel like it's insulting me. And part of the reason that I'm going to say I liked this episode was because I was with it all the way up until they reintroduced Kang. And I saw Jonathan Majors when he first appeared as Kang at the end of season 1 of Loki. I know a lot of people didn't like his performance. I kind of did. He was crazy enough that I could see it's like, okay, there's a madman here. I'm not sure what you're going to do with this. When they introduced him as Victor Timely.
Let me see if I can guess what you're going to say.
Okay.
The overacting is out of control. Is that what you're going to say?
Well, it's an interesting choice. I'll put it that way. And I was not fully on board with it. Okay. But I was willing to see, where are you going with this? And then, and this is what I'm going to tell you is what actually, there was a moment in this episode where I rolled my eyes so hard and was going, there it is. There's where they're going to do the thing that I hate. And it's when they were on the steamship and they're trying to push this romantic relationship between Victor Timely and Renslayer. And as
Yes.
soon as that started happening, I was like, oh no, I don't want to see this. And then she said the word partnership.
Yep. It
And
was a very listen. That was excellent.
that won me back. That's good writing. That little part there, because that is the one thing Kang will not tolerate, even with himself. He is so selfish for power that he will not tolerate even other versions of himself existing. So they won me back there. Where they lost me again was every single time that Sylvie appeared. Every time
Yes.
Sylvie appeared, she brings everything to a screeching halt. She's irritating. I don't like her. I
You
don't want
don't
her in
buy
the
her,
show.
and you don't believe her. I don't believe
No,
her. She's not who she's supposed to be.
I'm still kind of willing to give Kang a chance. He's not. I'm not a big Kang fan as a villain, and I'm not 100% sold by Jonathan Majors' performance. But it's intriguing enough that I'm willing to see what are other versions of this character you're going to give me. I'm hoping that there's something there that culminates in something that I buy. I'm not sure I'm 100% there yet. I did really enjoy them setting this during the Chicago World's Fair. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
So, it's again, it's not great. It's not going to save the MCU, but I am entertained. So good for them for that, I guess.
Well, let's put it this way, and I think this really does. It shows where Marvel's where they are and why they're trying to find what in the world they can do to get them through the interim to whatever the reboot is. They've already declared now through this book there's a reboot coming. They got to get there. They got to try to stop the bleeding as much as they can. Here's the deal. With Ahsoka, it was bad. It was just bad. And the farther we get away from it, the worse it is, because you look back at it and go, man, this is just terrible in every
The
way.
the memes have been incredible though.
Well, let's for Loki. What's your favorite meme, Lauren? I got to ask. What's your favorite Ahsoka meme?
Um uh I there was actually one that I shared this morning. It wasn't Ahsoka though. It was actually an Anakin one, but there was one that I saw a couple of weeks ago for Ahsoka. There was like the pitch meeting movie came out, or video on YouTube came out this morning. It was pretty good. I thought the Honest Trailers
Yes,
Ahsoka
yes.
video was even better. I thought there were a couple of things there that were hilarious. I will say my favorite YouTube video about Ahsoka was the Ahsoka 1986 trailer that
No,
came
I
out.
loved it. Yes, yes.
I saw that a little later than most people, and there were a couple of lines in that just had me rolling. So that's probably my favorite thing that came out of Ahsoka.
So back to Loki for a minute. If we look at the reviews that we've done here, I have said that it's either been a 5 or a 6 for every episode
Mhm.
so far in this season. And just to remind everybody, in season 1, the first 2 episodes I gave 10s, and I thought they were incredible. And then after that, it was very much not incredible anymore. But this season has been a steady stream of 5s and 6s, and like you said, that means that I'm not sitting there going, "Oh my God, do I have to review another one? Oh, please!" And I'm also not sitting there on the edge of my seat enthralled, but I am sitting there going, okay, this is all right. I can do this, yeah." And sometimes I'm having fun, but I need them. If I need them to find a way to get to a 7 or an 8, and I think that the general audience needs that too, for them to get out of this funk and have some way to go forward. Because this feels like, Lauren, here's final thought on this. It feels like they're kind of getting away as much as modern Marvel can from the MCU in this, but not enough, because why are we not spending time with Obi? That's the best. I mean, that character is amazing every time he's
I,
on screen.
I have a thought about that.
Go for it.
I've been keeping quiet about this. I have a quiet prediction. I think OB is going to be not what he appears,
I agree
and
with that.
I suspect that he is going to be the vehicle through which Kang is triumphant. And I think they may have thrown a red herring where they said that his temporal aura can't open that gateway. There's a part of me that thinks he is Kang. I don't know for sure if they're going to go quite that far, but I suspect they're going to do something with him that isn't what you would expect.
Well, I think the same. And the only thing that I really am pulling for, of course, is that Mr. Kwan continues to perform this character inside Marvel because Marvel needs compelling characters, and he does a phenomenal job every time he's on screen.
Yeah, if they don't have him do a villain turn, and if he is not responsible for Kang's return, or not a version of Kang that reveals himself to be Jonathan Majors, then I think it would be fun to just have him pop up in random Marvel movies, just little walk-on cameos. That'd be fun.
If they need to get rid of Jonathan Majors, I'm okay with Short Round being the big villain.
It's
Short Round as the big villain will work for me.
He's still the same guy that he's always been, even since he was a kid. He's still got the same mannerisms, the same inflections. It's wonderful to see him acting again. I'm really, really happy to see him just exploding. I hope he gets a lot more work.
Now, how about that, folks? We started off saying that we feel sorry for Brie Larson because we're not hateful or vengeful people. She hasn't treated, the folks out there exceedingly nicely. She's had some really, really rough edges and said some things that were abrasive and mean. But yet we want the best for her, and here we are ending it by saying, what a breath of fresh air it is to see Short Round, Mr. Kwan himself, back on the screen and back at acting, and we're wishing him the best. We want the best for everybody here on the Pro Channel. We want the best for Marvel too, and Marvel, please get rid of the MCU. Give us great female characters who are original. Give us great male characters who are original. Go with the characters who are popular. If you want to bring in lots of female characters, you've got Storm, you've got Rogue, you've got Psylocke coming in from the X-Men. Go with those characters. Stop with girl Loki and She-Hulk and female Thor. And just stop it. Just stop it. If it involves girl, she, her, or anything else that denotes feminism and it's the male character's name otherwise, it's a bad idea now. We know what happened in the comics, but let it go. All right, Lauren, one thing that we're never going to let go, of course, is having you on the channel. You're locked in, Lauren. We're bolting you to the camera. Lauren, where can folks find you on this great, big, beautiful web?
You can find me at that Park Place. I'm a writer there. You can find me at Lauren Connor on X and Lauren Connor 9030 on YouTube. And
Lauren, if you had to give this one a numerical score, what do you give it? 0 out of 10. Where's it land?
Kind of hard for me to tell. I'm still waffling a little bit on it. I don't think this is going to save Marvel. I don't think that it's the vehicle to do that. But I'm having a good time. I think that I would probably rate it a 6, but I'm willing to go higher if the later episodes surprise me or do something great. So it could be better in hindsight. But I did enjoy it. It was good.
And almost every time I come in one number below you, there's been only one time when you and I split majorly. That was one Ahsoka episode. But in this case, we're back to the same pattern. I give it a 5, which is still average. And overall, I'm still rating this series positively, but just barely so. All right, folks, we're covering it because this determines where Marvel goes. They're watching The Marvels. They've seen Miss Marvel. They've seen Secret Invasion. None of that has worked. Loki is doing okay. Will it be the okay enough to get them through? We will find out. All right, folks, the conversation here is closed, but the commentary begins. Drop a comment down below. We cover your comments. We care about what you think. If you liked what we had to say, click the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. And if you are out there saying, Pro, I can't stand Brie Larson. We should give her no grace. Well, forgive us, please. We understand the pain she has caused. We just, like Luke Skywalker, trying to redeem Darth Vader, we're looking for the good inside all. All right, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, Lord, they can't stand that. I've used Luke against them. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
This Halloween's definitely going to be something. Even after dead franchises like Marvel are like zombies, rotting corpses of their former glory. Dead, but still animated. I wonder, are there any franchises with some afterlife qualities? One Piece is almost vampiric, as it's sucking the life out of the competition. Yeah. Oh, DC is kind of like Frankenstein's monster, with bits and pieces from everywhere, and nothing is consistent.
I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
You know what would be a real treat this Halloween? Checking out WDW Pro. He's got all the sweet news on his Thursday live show at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Not to mention, his daily videos are a real treat.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars. Get it?
You know, we should go and make sure we're subscribed.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
And while we're at it, we'll ring that bell to make sure we're notified.
Great, let's go. Because, well, we actually care about that. Let's go.
Fact. Star Wars is not dead. It's haunting the staffs of Disney Plus.